The quote I have used throughout the class is, "We become what we behold. We shape our tools, and then our tools shape us." I feel this relates well with what we learned in this idea of becoming what we create, that being our technology. For example, we use our cell phones, computers, and cars every day, and they have shaped how we live our lives overall. Of course, there are other technologies that have also shaped how we live, but the three technologies mentioned are the quote unquote foundation of technology. I chose to focus on ID, Elul, and Haraway for analyzing how this idea of becoming what we behold defines who we are as people. First off, ID sets the standard with his human technology relations. I am focused on embodiment relations and hermeneutic relations. These are my personal favorites because I believe they encompass the broad sense of how we use technology either for ourselves or in the world. In embodiment relations, we become one with technology, but the world becomes one with technology in hermeneutic relations. Examples of embodiment relations include driving a car or riding an electric scooter. An example of hermeneutic relations includes traffic lights because they appear in the background to tell humans when they have to slow down, stop, or go. However, this is more of a coded sense. Next is Elul. While ID implies technology is used by humans in different kinds of relations, Elul contrasts those ideas by saying how technology is autonomous. What he means by this is technology ultimately depends on itself and it creates its own route. He also says it must be regarded as an organism. He creates this paradox to convince the reader to focus on technology as they would with themselves, which is a complex unity that must have all its parts functioning to operate as it should. This doesn't mean that humans can't have a part of this relation, but Elul is more focused on how he regards technology as self-directing. Heidi says it is we who shape our tools, but Elul will respond by saying technology actually comes around to define us. Last, there is Haraway, and she was a bit of a tougher read for me because she often flipped between perceiving the cyborg in fictional and factual reality. I also had to remind myself that a cyborg is a half human, half machine being. I'm getting what she is trying to say, but the fact that she says one thing and then says something else that seems to contradict makes her argument more difficult to understand. So I wasn't sure what kind of technology I wanted to choose to represent embodiment relations, but Dr. Fox suggested discussing BMI, and I learned quite a bit from it. It is also referred to as BCI, but I still call it BMI. What it does is that it allows us to interact with computers with our brains. There are a lot of components that go into it, like EEG or electroencephalography. This records the brain's generated activity with electrodes. The three types of BMI are non-invasive, semi-invasive, and invasive. Non-invasive is considered the safest and the cheapest since it only goes on top of the user's head. Semi-invasive is 50-50, although, because it goes into the skull on top of the brain. There is not much known about semi-invasive's cost, but it seems to have a mixed reception regarding safety. Invasive goes into the human brain via critical surgery. This is considered the most dangerous form because it is still emerging. These were very interesting to me because I interpret BMI as literally becoming one with technology that we can control internally. So now I'm going to move on to a game called We Become What We Behold. I shared this in one of my discussion posts because I felt it was appropriate to mention when we were reading Mumford. I am not sure how many in the class actually played the game, but if you did, feel free to let me know what you thought about it. In the game, you are the one who controls what the in-game people see on the TV in the center of the field that they are in. This references how we look at the media to see the outside world. It is a common tool that everybody uses, and many are influenced by it as a result. This goes back to the quote, "We become what we behold. We shape our tools, and our tools shape us." If you played the game, you know that the ending is very disturbing, but that only helps drive the point the game tries to make. Last, I wrote about VR. We all know that is a technology that shows a computer-generated environment that appears to be real. These environments are commonly used with a headset or a helmet device. Contrary to popular belief, VR is used for more than just entertainment purposes. In this time period, it is one of the technologies with the highest potential growth for the future. It seems to reference ID's hermeneutic relations in a transcendent way. This is twofold because the human is interacting with a technology in the world, and they are interacting with a virtual world that feels as if it were the real world. They move about in the virtual world as if they were in the real world. They interact with the quote unquote technology in the virtual world. So now I want to ask these questions. Have we become what we behold? Which thinker do you feel describes our relation to technology the best? And do we exhibit any traits of Haraway's cyborg? And what does she imply about our future?